Have you ever lost something so dear, so magical, that you felt your heart drop as if the whole world had suddenly gone dim? The kind of loss that makes you wish, in that very moment, that you could turn back time? In a kingdom bathed in sunshine and song, where music floated down cobblestone streets and flowers leaned out from balconies as if to listen, there lived a young princess whose life was filled with every treasure a royal heart could desire. Shimmering gowns sewn with silver thread, golden crowns that caught the light like captured suns, and a garden so lush and alive that butterflies danced through it in ribbons of color. But her most precious treasure wasn't the jewels or the roses. It was a golden ball. Perfectly round, perfectly smooth, it glowed as if it had captured a drop of sunlight and a single star all at once. She carried it everywhere, tossing it high into the air just to watch it sparkle before catching it with a little gasp of delight. Every afternoon, she wandered to her favorite place, a deep, stone-rimmed fountain in the heart of the forest. The trees here whispered overhead, their leaves glimmering with dappled light, and the water was so still it looked like polished glass. The ball would fly from her hand, up past the sunlit branches, and come tumbling down into her waiting fingers. But one warm day, the air smelled of wildflowers, and the sky was a perfect summer blue, and she threw the ball higher than she had ever dared. Her laughter rang out, until she missed. The golden ball bounced once on the grass, once more near the fountain's edge, and then, with a gentle plop, it vanished into the still, dark water. Her breath caught. She ran to the edge, kneeling so quickly the cool stone pressed against her knees. She peered into the depths, but the ball had already sunk from sight. The surface only stared back at her, reflecting her worried eyes. A lump rose in her throat. "It's gone," she whispered. "It's gone forever." Tears spilled over, falling like tiny pearls into the fountain. That's when she heard it. A voice, low and gentle, rising up through the ripples. "Why do you weep so, princess? Your tears could melt the coldest stone." She looked around, startled. Who said that? Down here. And there he was, a plump green frog, half submerged in the water, with eyes round and shiny as marbles, and a lopsided smile that made him look almost shy. You spoke," she gasped. "Indeed I did," he said with a polite nod, "and I couldn't help but notice the royal waterfall pouring from your eyes. What troubles you?" "My golden ball," she said, pointing sadly at the water. "It fell in. It's the thing I love most, and now it's gone." The frog tilted his head. "I could fetch it for you. I'm a very fine swimmer, but—" And here he paused, his eyes twinkling. "I'd want something in return." "What do you want? Jewels? A crown?" she asked quickly, already desperate for his help. He chuckled, a deep, croaky sound. No, I've no use for shiny things. What I want is better than that." Her brows drew together. "Better than gold?" "Yes," he said firmly. "If I bring your ball back, you must promise to be my friend. You'll let me eat from your golden plate, drink from your cup, sit beside you, and sleep in your soft little bed." She blinked. "That's very odd." But the thought of losing her ball entirely made her agree at once. Yes, anything you like. Just bring it back to me." The frog gave her a slow, knowing smile before diving beneath the surface. A few moments later, he emerged, water streaming from his slick back, the golden ball gleaming in his mouth. "Oh, thank you!" she cried, snatching it from the grass where he'd dropped it. Without a second glance, she spun on her heel and ran, the ball clutched to her chest. "Wait, princess! Take me with you!" he called after her, but his voice faded as she disappeared through the trees. That evening, the castle glowed with candlelight. The princess dined with her father, the king, at the long golden table, her ball safe beside her plate. But just as she lifted her fork, there came a strange sound. Splish, splash. Up the grand staircase came the wet slap of feet against marble. Then, knock, knock, knock. "Princess!" The voice was unmistakable. "You forgot someone." Her hand froze. "Who is it?" the king asked. "Just a frog," she mumbled. "He got my ball back, and I promised he could be my friend. But I didn't mean it." The king's gaze grew stern. "A promise is a promise. Open the door." "But father, he's a frog." "And still," the king said firmly, "he is owed the truth you gave him." With a heavy sigh, she pushed the great door open, and the frog hopped inside without hesitation, leaving tiny wet footprints on the gleaming floor. "Lift me up, princess," he said cheerfully. She grimaced, but under her father's watchful eye, she picked him up between two fingers and set him on the chair beside her. He ate heartily from her plate, crumbs clinging to his chin, while she could hardly touch her food. When dinner was done, the frog yawned widely. "Bedtime," he croaked. "Carry me, please." Her mouth fell open. "Bedtime? You mean in your soft little bed," he said, smiling as though it were the most natural thing in the world. "You did promise." The king's brows lifted. "My dear, your word is your honor." And so, with reluctant steps, she carried him up the winding stairs to her chamber. She set him on the farthest corner of the room and quickly climbed into bed, hoping that would be enough. But after a few minutes, he spoke again. "I'm cold. Let me in your bed, or I'll tell your father you've broken your promise." That was the last straw. Frustration boiled over. She leapt from her bed, snatched him up, and threw him against the wall. "Go away, you horrid thing!" she cried. But before the frog could hit the floor, the room filled with a sudden swirl of golden light. Her eyes widened as the magic seemed to stretch and shimmer, and there, standing where the frog had been, was a young man, tall, with kind eyes and a smile that held no anger. Who are you?" she stammered. "The one you just threw," he said with a playful grin. "Long ago, a wicked enchantress cursed me into a frog. Only a promise kept, and a touch of kindness, could break the spell." Her cheeks burned. I didn't mean to be kind." He laughed softly. "That's the funny thing about kindness. Sometimes it happens when we least expect it." In the morning, a gleaming carriage drawn by white horses arrived at the castle gates. Inside was the prince's loyal servant, Henry, who had once bound 3 iron bands around his heart to keep it from breaking when his master was cursed. As they rode away together, the air filled with the clatter of wheels and the snort of horses, and then a sharp crack. The prince turned. "Henry, what was that?" "One of the iron bands," Henry said, smiling through happy tears. "My heart no longer needs its chains." 2 more cracks followed before they reached the prince's home. The princess smiled shyly at the prince. "I think your heart just needed hope." "And yours," he replied gently, "needed a friend." From that day forward, they were not just companions, but true partners in every adventure, learning to trust, to laugh, and to keep their word, even when it came in the shape of a frog. The golden ball still sat beside the fountain, but they had each other to toss it to, and that was the greater treasure. Because sometimes magic isn't in the spells or the crowns. It's in the promises we keep, the hearts we open, and the friendships that surprise us most. And if you ever find yourself face to face with a frog asking for a promise, you might want to say yes. If this tale brought a smile to your heart, like, comment, and subscribe for more magical stories. And don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss the next adventure waiting just beyond the forest.